Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about divorce today. I think it's going to be our first episode. If you like this shit, hit the subscribe button. If you don't like this shit, get off my channel. I don't give a fuck about you. I'm going to have an article from Reddit read aloud using a text-to-speech. And the setup of the show is I'm going to give you some taglines along the way, just let you know what I'm thinking when I'm thinking it. And after the entire article is read by the software AI bitch, we're going to be talking about the article together. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's start.
I have nothing anymore. My wife had a baby with another man. Not 100% sure what went on between those two, but she definitely lied to me anyway.
I know what happened between them. They was going at it. You don't really got to guess there. I don't know what happened between the two, but they made a baby. I think you know what happened.
Not 100% sure what went on between those two, but she definitely lied to me anyway, and a lot of other people. Guess she just got in over her head and tried to save it. I thought I was a dad, and I was so happy.
Her head really wasn't the problem. It was somebody else's head being in her. That was the problem. Stop making excuses for her. No. There's no excuse for that. Okay? If y'all had an agreement, y'all were going to be in a faithful relationship, and you kept your end and she didn't keep her end, stop making excuses for people. At some point in time, you just have to say somebody's fat because they eat too much, not because they're a victim. Okay? She didn't get in over her head. Oh, I accidentally texted that guy who gave me his number, and then I met him in a parking lot when you wasn't there, and he fucked me, and then I had one of his babies, and I was just in over my head. No, bitch. The whole time that you're cheating, you have to be complicit in this shit. It takes a lot more effort than to just, I slipped and fell. Now I'm in over my head. You know what in over your head in real life is? You go to run a fucking red light, and you find out as you're passing through the red light, there's a cop right there. You got in over your head. You didn't bargain for this, but you also kind of did the action that got you there. So that's in over your head. In over your head is not, I accidentally tripped and fell on this dick. So fuck out of here with it. Not in over her head. Man's got GDS. We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
I thought I was a dad, and I was so happy. So many bad years now. First tough going with studies, then financial trouble after graduating. Finally cleared all that up, and she was pregnant. Then it all fell apart as more lies got uncovered.
Alright, so he went through school and he paid off debt. Which means two things. One of them's good, one of them's bad, right? The bad one is that she was probably fucking around behind his back the whole time he was in school because he's probably really preoccupied. And being that he paid off his debt already, I'm assuming that he was working while he was in school. So he didn't have any fucking time. And women value time more than they value fucking like everything else for some reason, which is really stupid because if a man doesn't have time, it's usually because he's successful. And if he does have time to give you, it's more valuable because he has less time, right? So it's kind of like a supply restriction thing it's very real in the real world, man. I mean, you get asked fucking any woman who's part of a successful like relationship where it's financially successful on both ends, or at least on the male end, that man is not going to have a lot of time for you. If he's truly like busting his ass and putting in, 50 plus hours a week. I'm sorry, 40 plus is just not that hard. It's just not that hard. When you start getting up into the 50, 60, 70 hour weeks, okay, that's real work. Like if you got a 9 to 5 and you think your life is hard, I regret to inform you, you don't work that much. You really don't. If you do the math on it, how many hours there are in a week and how many you work, you don't work that much. Calm down. You're a full-time employee. Not that hard, okay? When you start getting up 60, 70, call me back. I've done plenty of 90-hour weeks in my life, 100 plus a few times, and it ain't fun. But also, the good and bad part is that the bad is he was probably getting fucked around on the whole time he was working hard and doing the right thing and being a good guy. The good part is that because he was doing that, I'm assuming since he was in school and paying off debt at the same time, he's probably at a younger age, which means that he has an even better market availability now that he's transitioned through his education and he's back on the market. And now he's a man who's worth more, being that he's graduated and he's finally back on the dating scene. And he ain't the cashier at the Foot Locker anymore. Now he might be the account administrator at some finance firm or something like that. You know, like maybe he's kicking ass. Maybe, I mean, let's at least assume that he did something wise with his time, because it's a pretty well written like article. You know, I mean, he wrote this himself, and his diction's good, so I could tell that he's intelligent. I'm assuming that he increased his value while he was in school, and he's at a young age. So for him, you know, let's assume that even if he's, let's say, under 35, right? So peak for males in like the marketplace, the sexual marketplace, probably 35 years old. Frankly, that's when we're our most valuable. We have the most money, we have the most assets, we have the most status, you know, we have the most support network. Like the things that make us valuable to women, whether they like to admit it or not, are not tied to our looks. Look, I'm a fucking 6 at best, maybe. I think, in fact, if a 5 is average, I might be a 4.5. I might be slightly below average. I'm fucking 5'10". I'm fatter than hell right now. I gotta get skinny again. But he's probably back on the market right now, and I'm assuming this dude is probably above average value right now. I'm an above average income man. I'm more than double the median income. So when I fucking go out there, I can take you nice places. I can show you nice shit. And I'm not gonna be broke after doing it. I'm not gonna take you to a 5-star restaurant and be fucking poor afterwards. I can afford the fucking $200 steak. It's not a big deal. You know, we'll go to a nice place. It's not gonna kill me. It's an experience, right? That's what we're here for. But I mean, homeboy might go back on the market and crush it, but it's gonna take a while to get over this GDS that he's got. We'll get into that in a little bit. Let's resume.
Then it all fell apart as more lies got uncovered. She won't admit to anything, of course, but the whole story is too long to tell. I'm divorcing her anyway, can't be with her anymore. The only thing certain is that nothing is certain, and that's not what a relationship should be like. I know for a fact she's lied and manipulated me and covered up the truth. She's ill. I don't think she did it to intentionally hurt me, she was just scared. DNA test shows I'm not the father.
All right. I think he's right, actually. That section right there, I don't think she did it to hurt him. I genuinely don't. She did it to make herself feel better. Most likely, right? Women don't use sex in the same way that men do, right? Women don't fuck somebody else to get over you. Men will. Women fuck somebody else to make themselves feel valuable. If they're cheating but they're not leaving, they're just trying to make themselves feel valuable. And here's the fucked up part. He's probably, and like you hear the way that he talks inside of this article about like how this was his future and he loved her so much and this was his world, and like you'll hear him talking about that. This dude is not wrong. She didn't do it to hurt him. She did this because she wanted to feel better about herself, and probably because she is mentally ill. She probably fucking is mentally ill, dog. And here's the thing that bothers me. He probably saw a bunch of fucking red flags on the way to where he's at right now and just ignore. Oh, it's fine. You know, I love somebody. I could put up with this. Nah, dog. Where was she when you was at school? Where was she when you was paying off them loans, probably working overtime? Where was she when you thought that baby was yours? She was fucking around somewhere. She was late from work, or she was going to work early, or she was doing something, or even she might have not been doing anything at all. That might have been how she got away with it. She might have not had a schedule to keep. I don't believe in putting trackers on women's phones, but if you got a sketchy ass girl, you kind of need some kind of insurance. I mean, I don't think it stops anybody from cheating. I think they just get better at it. Like, I mean, if you're smart and you're a woman, right? Like, is it really that hard to fucking get another phone? Like, so, small technical error. The camera died right at the end of the last statement. And what I was trying to say is that cheap insurance is not good insurance. If you can put a tracker on somebody's phone, you think that's going to stop them from fucking somebody. It's not. Because they can leave that phone at the house, and if they really need another one, they can just go down to the Best Buy and pick up a burner phone and pay $35 a month and leave that phone in the center console of their car and on mute and off, and you will never find it. And if you ever did find it, she'd probably be like, oh, that was my old one when I broke it. Remember, oh yeah, but I just keep it in case I ever break a phone at work or something and fucking put a passcode. I don't even remember the passcode, honey. It's like shit like that. Like, and again, the red flags. The red flags are going to be all over the place when you're on the way with some woman like this. Like, if they want to fuck around on you, there's almost nothing that you can do to stop it. They can buy another phone so you can't track them. They can make it look like they're sitting at home all day. They can even text you when they're not sitting at home all day from that phone you think you're watching, because they can put it on another fucking app and put that shit in the house. And you won't know the difference. You know why? They just transfer it over. Now you're looking at the other phone sitting at the house all day. Like, there's nothing that's going to stop somebody who wants to cheat on you. There's nothing that you can do. All right, so let's keep it rolling.
DNA test shows I'm not the father. It feels like someone ripped my heart out of my chest, and there's nothing left. I cry myself to sleep every night. I break down crying every day. Trying to not cry at work now. Was at the therapist today, and just cried for 45 minutes. I don't want to tell my friends how I really feel, how I'm barely hanging on, and can't take this anymore. Because then I'm just the sad guy, and not me. Don't want to tell my mom or my brother, because they'll be very sad and worried. I just say I'm not okay, and leave it at that.
All right. That is a rough paragraph. He has a proximity problem, clearly, right? When you're too close to things, especially fire, you get burned, right? And he's too close to the fire that just happened. So he's still getting burned. When he gets a month or two out, by the end of 2 months for certain, he's going to feel a different way about it. Everybody goes through a depression when a relationship dies, because a relationship is like this whole different entity that you feel attached to. Not even the person, you get attached to the relationship because you're used to being in it. It's comforting, it's security, it's like your future and all this shit. And don't get me wrong, like that's the valuable part of a relationship, is that it provides something to you that you cannot get from anything else, right? You can't walk into a Outback Steakhouse and order comfort. You can't go into a designer clothing shop and order emotional security. And when you get that shit taken away from you, it sucks. But also, it was fake to begin with. It was like you were wearing, knockoff Gucci, and somebody was like, "Yeah, it's knockoff Gucci," and you go, oh, "But I wanted it to be real Gucci. I wanted it to be real." Oh, I'm sorry, man. It sucks, but you was wearing that bullshit the whole time. So stop worrying so much about the fact that you were wearing bullshit and go find some real shit to put on. I know, but it's also that proximity issue, so he's going to have to get further away from it. He's about to do a lot of crying in this article, and I don't blame him. It's good to see that he's going to therapy, I mean, who couldn't use it after some traumatic shit? I would qualify this as traumatic. He thought he had a daughter. He'd been with the same woman. He'd been being a good guy the whole time, went through school, paid off the debt, did everything right, like increasing his value while she's just decreasing hers. And he was killing it. He was doing what was right. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you do everything right. If you're with the wrong person, you're going to get results like this. And the same way that this happened to you, it doesn't matter how far down the road somebody comes along 10, 15 years later, she's going to do the same kind of shit to the next guy. It's not like it's you, dude. It's not like it's you. It's just the proximity that you feel to this shit. And it's not going to happen in the next one, more than likely. Because now you're a very valuable guy. And you can also use that as your bargaining chip in the future. You can tell them, sit down and tell them, "Hey, I just want you to know, if you ever cheat on me, have you ever been ghosted? That, but way worse. Like, you're going to get ghosted the hardest you've ever been ghosted in your life. In fact, you won't even know I'm leaving you until you get home and all of my shit is out of the house and I've already moved out and changed my number. And you won't find me. You will not find me. You will be stuck there wondering what the fuck happened, and that is it. And I will never fucking be back, bitch. That is how you approach it. If you want somebody to not cheat on you, just tell them that. And be real about it, too. Like Patrice O'Neal used to say it, but say it with righteousness. Mean that shit. And you should mean that shit. Because if somebody's fucking around on you, it ain't no, oh, baby, we're going to work through it. Nah. If y'all agreed to be in a monogamous relationship and it wasn't working out and you leave them and you fuck somebody else, that's fine. But if y'all agree to be in a monogamous relationship and her ass goes out and fucks somebody else, has that baby and fucking turns around and doesn't tell your ass, didn't even give you the chance to leave, nah, son. You got to put on your ice skates and run the fuck away from that hoe. She for the streets, bro. She for the streets. Get away as fast as you can. Run. You're the gingerbread man. All right, let's keep it bumping.
I just say I'm not okay and leave it at that. I'll go to therapy though. It can't hurt at least. Can't see how it can improve anything. I thought I had everything. A beautiful, nice daughter. I could look into her eyes and she'd look back into mine. I'm your daddy, I said to her. Wondered what she'll grow up to be like. Thought about how I can teach her all about life like my father taught me. The future was a bright and shiny horizon, and I would enjoy every moment in the sunshine on the way there with my girls. Now it feels dark and cold.
All right. So I get that this depression is crushing, but also you got to remember, balls don't stop working. All right. I know you thought that was your daughter and that was important, and it's very hard to lose that. Don't get me wrong. I can see your pain, but then again, when you increase the proximity, like how far away you get from this, you're going to start to feel better. And the good news is, the silver lining in this cloud is your balls keep working. I hope you're not going to pay her child support for that bullshit she pulled. That's her fucking fault. That's on her. That's not your fucking kid. She shouldn't have to pay a goddamn dime for that. I hope he's not in one of them states that make him do that goofy shit. In fact, he should almost get some money back for fucking funding her ass and her bullshit. And yeah, no, that should, if you want to ask me, having a child out of wedlock when you're in a marriage, immediate grounds for a zero finance divorce, right? Like no fucking money is involved in this. Whatever's in my bank account, whatever's in her bank account, not even split. Just fucking, here you go. You keep your 1,500, I keep my 3. You know, fucking whatever. Goodbye. I'll see you later. Immediate fucking divorce. And your balls still work, bro. So it's not like you can't have another kid. You just got out of college, like we said. You're probably got a lot of life left in you. And, you know, old dad is way easier than old mom is. I'm sorry. Just fucking is, right? Men stay stronger for longer. It's just, you know, I've seen 75-year-old dudes who are still in boxing gyms. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own fucking eyes and go, God damn, for fucking how? How the fuck are you? You're so old. I'm terrified that you're going to fall down and break a hip. But, dude, I mean, Mick Jagger was putting out kids in his 70s or something like that. It might have even been his 80s. I don't know. I thought that your nuts just turned to dust at some point in time, but I guess they don't. So go out and have more babies, but qualify the next woman for real. Like, qualify her. You need to genuinely take your time and, like, it's just as important for men in dating to qualify as it is for women, but we get so wrapped up in trying to get some ass that we kind of forget about it, right? And here's the problem. A woman who's good in bed will make you think that she's qualified. Because, oh man, I can't leave this one. This is too good. Nah, she's not qualified. You got to kind of look for a girl who's going to be a good mom and somebody that you can trust. And if she's too good in bed, red flag. Red flag, okay? Women who are too good in bed, in my experience, generally have daddy issues, attachment issues, bipolar, a lot of shit. Just going to give you a heads up. Let's keep it rolling.
I have my cats to take care of, so I'm hanging on for them. No one else will take care of them except me. But I can't sleep because I picture pushing her on a swing set. I picture the last night I held her and said goodbye to our future. Goodbye to the bright horizon. Then I woke up to darkness. I have my job, and it's meaningful. Trying to still work, although I'm not sure if I can anymore. I might have to take a sick leave because I can't focus. My colleagues are nice and understanding. I have friends who keep reaching out to help me through it. I hang out with them regularly. I just lost so much and I have nothing left. The psychologist asked me if I'm suicidal. I'm not. I just don't want to live anymore. What's the point? She was my point. Now she's gone.
All right. Uh, so he's under the impression he has nothing left, and you're wrong. You're wrong. I will say that in life you will learn, and it goes as time goes on, right? I'm a little bit ahead of the curve because I kind of started early on this adulthood shit, like real young. And I've learned in life, like, you don't really possess your physical possessions, right? But what you do possess, because like physical possessions can be taken from you. A hurricane could hit right now, flood my fucking car. I don't own it anymore. You know, the insurance company owns it. Owns it. The wrecker owns it. Whoever's chopping it up into a million pieces owns it. Whoever buys it after me owns it. I really don't own it, right? I have a piece of paper that says I paid it off, but I really don't own the shit. I mean, if I get into a car wreck, I don't get to keep it and get the money out of it. They're gonna take it. Right? I don't really own the house because when I die, it's not going with me. But what I do own and you can't take away from me is opportunity. You have opportunity, right? Like, this is not the only woman that you could ever be with. You're a guy. If anything, it's easier for you to find a good woman now than it was ever before. You have more opportunity on the dating market than you ever had before. And I understand the sentiment that is really painful right now and that it hurts to move forward, but this is the perfect time for you to embrace that self-improvement that you just did. And I'm sorry, you got to go out. You got to get another piece of ass ASAP, immediately. I don't care if you have to fucking pay for it at this point, because you sound like somebody who might try to kill themselves. And it's just because you're experiencing that numbness and detachment people get from these traumatic events, right? And you have I think it's like post-traumatic bitch syndrome. Like, you went through a woman who traumatized you because she was a bitch, right? Stop acting like she's not the worst person you've ever fucking met, okay? The fact that you won't tell your mom, your brother about this, that's very sad, because now you believe that you might have done something wrong. When in reality, they should both be hating that bitch with you. They should. You have post-traumatic bitch syndrome. Yeah. She traumatized you, and now what you got to do is you got to fucking take your ball and go home. Don't play her game anymore. Don't feed into her bullshit. You got to get a divorce. You got to be the fuck out of there. There's no other option. You have post-traumatic bitch syndrome. I'm sorry, dude. It sucks. It fucking happens to the best of us. I've been there. The further you get away from it, the better that you're going to feel. End of the story. End of the story. We only got a little bit more to go here.
Now she's gone. Sorry if this is too heavy. I just needed to write it down somewhere. I have nothing anymore.
That is it. That was a tough one. That is a tough one. Closing statement. He has a very severe case of what I like to call GDS. Now, GDS stands for good dude syndrome. His problem right now is that he's a good dude. His problem right now is that he's incapable of being a piece of shit because he hasn't practiced it. You kind of need to go be a piece of shit right now. Not even really a piece of shit, but you need to go be selfish for a while, because something very selfless has happened to you. You gave your life to a woman and a child who both weren't yours. At the end of the day, that child is not yours. That woman is not yours. She's not a possession, man. And neither is that child. And you don't own those, but you do own the opportunity to improve on your life right now. Don't focus on that negative shit. It's hard. It's painful when it first starts out, but eventually you're going to flip the script on them, and they're going to be the ones missing you, because she can be sitting there, and mind you be, that person who knocked her up, he wasn't the one who told you. He ain't coming back. He ain't coming back. He's a sperm donor. She's a receptacle. She going to have a hard time. She going to be a single mom who probably ain't got her shit together. Because she was fucking around. She had enough time. She wasn't improving her life either. I would have told you this right now. I guarantee you, if they were both in school and both working like he was, Zero chance. Zero chance that Shawty was out fucking somebody on the low. She wouldn't have had time, just like he didn't have time to notice she was fucking around. I bet she was sitting at home not doing shit with her life. He didn't talk about her having a job. He didn't talk about her having a career, but he did say, I went to school, I paid off my debt already. Wow. That's a big step. That's hard to do. Not a lot of people do that. Not everybody nowadays. So you're ahead of the curve. And I bet the same girl who's seeking validation and going out and riding other dicks, I'm willing to bet she didn't get anywhere in her life when she was doing it. That guy who she was fucking, he didn't stay around to try and be that father. He knew she was a buster, but you fell in love with a buster, and that shit happens. Well, I bet she threw it back incredible, but now you learned your lesson. You know, you're not going to get that time back, Playboy. You're not going to get that embarrassment back either. I'm sorry. It sucks. It fucking happens. It's just part of life. You're going to have to suck it up and move on. And just be done with it. I wish you the best if you ever do find this video, which I highly doubt is unlikely. Or no, I highly doubt is likely. Because unless people like and subscribe, this is going nowhere. Like and subscribe, guys. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Chris Explains. Somewhere in the future, I'm going to have to pick a different name for this shit. Because I've chosen to go a different direction. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for joining me.